Hey, happy Juneteenth. Welcome back to Nav's Comics. So today we're starting with the Navi-Story episode 1, and we're going to talk about local comic book shops, LCS. Navi-Story is, as dubbed by my friends, a story that I tell that goes nowhere. And hopefully this story goes somewhere, but uh, yeah, and I want to talk about this because I don't use a LCS. I use online ordering, so I kind of want to talk about why that is. A little history though. Growing up, I had an LCS and I loved it. The owner was spectacular. By that I mean I remember wanting to work there. He didn't he wasn't going to hire me, but he offered me like to shovel out the snow in the back for store credit a couple of times. Just really kind of cool like that. Um, I don't remember the context exactly how this came up at the store, but for some reason, so back in high school, had an assignment to write a poem, in English class, and I wrote it about a vampire, and because I was big into that at the time, definitely goth roots here. So I wrote it about a vampire, and the grade I got was a B. It was poetics A, subject C. Very frustrating. Like, who grades on the subject of a poem? Like, that's just ridiculous. So they actually hung it up, and that was really cool. At the store, he also, he would hang up, artwork. I'm pretty sure he hung up some artwork I did as well, not just mine, like other kids' artwork as well. So it was just overall a great experience. We even had, played some role playing games in their basement. It wasn't like a comic store with like the setup for like magic, tournaments, that kind of thing. It was just a small store and it had a basement. And for whatever reason, we used it to game a couple times. I don't really remember the particulars of that, but anyway, yeah, okay, great experience, loved it. Moving on as an adult, um, well, I guess in college, I ended up like stopped buying comics for a while at some point. Um, just money things, and anyway, so I get back into comics around the New 52, so like 2011 essentially, and I'm in a town and I go to this one comic book shop. It was kind of near where I worked, and man, they were just condescending a-holes, like just really I hated going there. I mean, there were some employees that were good, but the guy that ran it was just a jerk. And it wasn't just me, like my boss would go there too, and he was like, man, that guy just sucks. It's just and yeah, so it was, and there's another shop locally that I would go to sometimes, but also like the guy was just like, it's like he hated life or something, and he hated you for being there. Uh, so that actually, at some point, I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna find something else, and that's when I found Discount Comic Book Service. So this is not an ad for them, uh, but I just want to talk about how it's been for me, because now I'm in a place where there are some okay LCSs, but I'll get to that. But so it was a little difficult transitioning to online ordering. So one thing is you're ordering like months in advance, which is good and bad. So the bad of it is I order a book, I don't like it. Well, too bad. I'm already getting issues 2 and 3 probably. It's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. But I mean, on the flip side, they're offering a really good discount, like 40% off, sometimes 50% off. So you paid shipping, and I did start off having a ship weekly. I eventually moved to monthly, and I got I adjusted to that, and that's how I get my comic books today. Um, Overall, been great. There's been a couple times. I mean, you can't, obviously, you're not picking which one you get off the shelf. So like maybe you don't get the quote unquote 9.8 that you might be trying to get off the shelf. I'm definitely the kind of guy that if I see 10 of a comic on the shelf, I'm going to try and eye up the spine and see if I can find the best one. You don't have that, obviously. there's been a couple that were ship damaged, but they've always replaced them. So that's been a pretty good. And they're always, I email them at times and about things, and they're very responsive and uh, you know address my orders as needed. So it's been a pretty positive. Now the downside, right, is when I go to shops and they might ask, like, what shop I go to. Well, isn't that a personal question, right? And I'll say, I use the online thing, and they always hate it. They like, now I'm just a horrible person in their eyes. I get it to a point, but I mean, here's the thing too. Like, support small businesses, that's great. But let's not fool ourselves. Not all small businesses are great. Like, definitely, in my opinion, very evident in the pandemic, and they're definitely put in a tough spot. But you had a lot of places looking to, just act as if there wasn't a pandemic. Now, locally where I'm at now, they're all very good, and they continue to be really good about it to this day. So, there's kind of like three shops nearish to me, two pretty close. One I have to take a subway to, but the Subway 2 one is my Bad Ideas retailer, and I really like them. They're really, really nice. That's the thing. Like, I like, I've even started to go when it's not a bad idea week, because they do have a better selection, I feel. But also, like, I enjoy talking to the person that runs it. That's always like, I go there to buy comics and talk to the person there. So that's what I don't really experience closer to home. One of the shops closer to me, which I guess is probably the one that I should consider if I were to consider not using the discount comic book service, to use them for my books. I've had hit or miss situations with them. I just, they're not always, how do I put it? I guess a little bit more business minded. Like, you can't blame them. Like, they're after the money, right? But the way the comic book market is today, you have a hot book that comes out like Nightwing 81. I don't know if they pull it or they just don't order enough, but it's just never, like those new books day one are not there. So, maybe someone's coming in, like, they don't sell more than one per customer. So there is that. I tried buying more than one of a comic that wasn't even really a key. And they said no, which was, fine. I get that. So I don't know. I guess I had commented somewhere, but they're the ones where I wanted to, they had the Something That's Killing the Children, #1, 8th print, and you're supposed to get that for free if you have the card from the Berserker comic. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Go contact Boom. It's like, oh really? That's what you're telling me? So it's just, didn't really sit well with me. And so they had it listed as a secret variant for $15. I kind of wish that their variants, I feel like a store variant listing should be generally cheaper than what it is sold for on eBay, plus shipping. And when they're not, I guess from my perspective, where I'm doing my purchasing online for the most part, not that I'm going through eBay, but definitely for variants like, incentive variants, that's where I'm going to look. I guess, to some extent, I don't mind paying, the same price to support someone local, but when you're going, when they're going kind of overboard on it, then I get, a little hem and haw about it. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the rundown on the whole LCS situation. And I feel that there was something else I wanted to talk about with the LCS, but maybe not. But anyways, that's why I get my comics monthly. I do go to the stores every so often. Like my Bad Idea retailer, like they didn't really ask me where I was getting my comics, but the topic of like DCBS being the distributor for DC Comics came up, and I was kind of like, I'm not going to mention that that's who I use. I just kind of played dumb a little bit, but yeah. So that's about it. This is my first Navi-Story, and I hope you enjoyed it. So let me know what you think. hopefully you don't hate me for not having LCS, but yeah, feed me those comments and those likes and those subscribes. And I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.